Hello, my name is Emily Loud, and the topic I chose for my social problem project is how social media is affecting today's society. So, a little history of social media. Um, the internet's been around for since the 1960s, about, but social media began in 2003 with MySpace, and at this time, 5% of Americans use social media. And MySpace was created for mainly for teenagers to be able to interact after school, but not having to interact in person. And along with MySpace was AOL Instant Messaging, also known as AIM, which has been around since 1997. Even I remember using AOL as a little kid. So, but I was never allowed to have a MySpace. Um, But then there was Facebook, which was created in 2004, shortly after MySpace. But Facebook actually dominated both platforms of AOL and MySpace in 2008. And then next came Twitter in 2006 and Instagram in 2010, which attracted a lot of people in society's attention because it was a smartphone only app used for photos and videos. And then in 2011, there was Snapchat, and that attracted young adults and children mostly because users were able to send videos and pictures that would instantly disappear after just seconds. Even though now we all know that Snapchat holds everything. So, social media versus socialization. When socializing, people tend to open their phones when not interested in conversation, which leads to a habit of not listening to real life conversations and making their presence in society a priority. Which this could also lead to people retaining information can become a problem when they're always on their phone. I personally do catch myself doing this, not even in like social interactions. Um, But I do find myself doing this not even in social interactions, but I guess just like sitting in the car or sitting at home with my family. I just open up my phone when everyone else is in the same room as me, and I just shut out everything and just am on my phone for no reason, just scrolling through my socials, looking at stuff I've looked at a million times. But society also feels lost without their phones. Um, I do know a few people who will freak out in social interactions if they do not have their phone on them, like if it dies or they lost it, especially with people who lose their phones. They focus everything on finding their phone and forget about what they're doing once they realize that their phone is lost. Um, they just focus everything on their phone. So with social media, it brings to less face-to-face interaction. Um, so everyone's hiding behind that screen, interacting behind that screen, whether it's good interactions or bad interactions, if it's just like two close friends interacting, like commenting on each other or just talking to each other through instant messaging, um, they tend to forget about their face-to-face interactions, which could lead to emotional cues becoming a problem. So some people might not be able to pick up on their best friend's social cues because, or emotional cues, because they're just so used to talking to them through Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook Messenger. And so social media and socialization affect children mostly and young adults. And because children are at risk of social skills not developing properly, especially children who grew up using social media and made their social media accounts when they were 8 years old, which has been the trend the last 5 or 6 years. Um, this is a problem because they're relying on their phones for interaction with peers, like I said before, talking through to their best friends through a Snapchat group chat message, which could also lead to confrontational issues. A lot of kids don't know how to confront their problems in person, but will um, resort to texting or messaging or Snapchatting to confront about problems or even just um, or any issues they have. So a lot of kids won't interact or confront in person. They'll wait until after school or after hanging out with them to Snapchat message them to talk about issues. And like I said before, um, children who grow up using social media seem not be able to focus on things in the real world. They tend not tend to not be able to comprehend or mature properly because they're just so used to seeing everything on social media and not being able to look at real world problems or real world issues. And most children use social media as a escape from reality. So if they have issues at home, they'll use social media more to be able to find that sense of enjoyment. Also, with children and social media, cyberbullying has skyrocketed since social media use has risen, especially with children, and especially with children who grew up using social media, or even which means they like got a phone or made social media accounts at the age of 8. Cyberbullying is a very big problem in this world. Next is social media versus symbolic interactionism. So some cons of these two are people feel like they always must be on their phones to stay up to date with events, which can be bad because then they rely on social media to find out about events or to keep up to date on things when they can use much better resources. Another con with symbolic interactionism is people's self-image, like on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or sometimes Snapchat. People want to be seen on social media in a certain way compared to how their life really is. So usually people who think that they don't have the best life will have an influx in social media use compared to people who like to not use social media as much and just as a check-in here or there. And these people love getting compliments from even strangers just to feel that some sort of gratitude they have. And another con is confrontation. So um, people hide behind the screen, talk about issues like I talked before, which is usually seen as more of a problem in children, along with cyberbullying. Some pros of symbolic interactionism is being able to connect with their friends and family to update on, especially if they're far away, to be able to update your relatives on your life, how you're doing, and some fun stuff you've been up to. And also spreading the word fast about events happening in the real world. Um, an example of this is Tripoli cases that have happened this past summer and early fall. Now, we don't have to worry about Tripoli anymore right now, but in the summer it was a huge issue, especially in Massachusetts. And I always found myself finding updates on Facebook through reliable sources on Facebook on the closest case to Tripoli and the most recent case to Tripoli, Massachusetts. And um, another pro of this is that you're able to share these posts with your friends who will share it with their friends and their friends. And so that's a positive way of spreading the word because it gets important things out there. But again, it can be a con from spreading the word on rumors or stuff that isn't nearly as important as world events. Another pro is expressing ourselves. Um, for example, I love to, if I find an article on Facebook or Twitter or a post someone made that has to do with a problem in society, um, I find myself just sharing that article or post. Just hit the share button, don't even say anything, just to show that I support the movement or support the situation at hand. Also, another pro is networking. A lot of people use social media nowadays to network themselves, to get themselves out there. A social media platform that is used for networking is a LinkedIn. It's a more professional way of using Facebook. And another pro of symbolic interactionism on social medias is raising money for charities. Not being able to develop social skills properly is another huge con, especially in young children. So I think that's all I got to say about social media and the social interactions of it and the socialization of it. And thank you.